Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo IdeaPad S340-15IIL Touch. Right, so first thing we're going to do is use a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver and remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like this on my desk, like that, in the pattern I remove them, so that way I can easily put them back together. Alright, so we got 3 going along the back near the hinge. Right, then we got 3 going along the center, and then we got 4 going along the bottom near the opening. Right, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. This screw seems to be stuck, so we're going to leave it there for now. Alright, if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers, so keep that in mind. I don't own them, so if you see this video, I likely won't have the computer to show anything else. This laptop was liquid damaged. The first thing I'm going to be checking is if I can retrieve their data from their hard drive or SSD. If we can't do that, then I'll have to let the customer know, and then we might stop the repair there, but let's see what's going on. Alright, so this one had a wine spill over the keyboard, so let's go ahead and see. Oh, why is this screw like stripped or something? It doesn't want to come out. Let's see. A lot of these screws seem like they're stripped or stuck or something for some reason. So the screw mounts on here seem to be bad. So if you have this model and your screws aren't coming out, it might be a bad design. Actually, this one down here seems like it should have a little rivet on it, but I don't know. That's kind of weird. So I don't know if somebody messed with this before or not, but let's go ahead and try and pop this cover off. So I can actually get in the back here with my fingernail, and then we can go ahead and pop this up. So this one I think actually has one of those where it holds the screw in place. All right, we're gonna work our way down, kind of just wiggle it around. Okay, slowly kind of wiggle. I might have to pry this one up a little. I'm going to use my fingernail, running it along the bottom here, the little gap as I kind of lift it, and there we go. Came out quite nicely. I don't see anything as far as like a little washer to hold that screw in place. This one, yeah, I don't know why this one screw doesn't come out by itself easily, but looks like it should. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so I don't know why it was stuck there, but we got it out. That's what it looks like. I can actually see the stains from the liquid spill in here. All right, let's go ahead and see what else we got. Okay, so after a liquid spill, first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery or the power if you can. All right, so this had liquid spill. It spilled last night, so hopefully we'll see if it's repairable or not, but yeah. All right, let's go ahead and remove all the screws holding the battery in place. All right, so there's one there, one here. All right, and then it looks like we got one more up here. So is that it? 3 screws holding the battery in place. This battery screw mount is broken, so I don't know. There's a lot of broken stuff going on in here, so maybe it's worse than just the liquid. All right, so we're gonna lift this out. You want to get all these wires out of the way. Okay, make sure to get these wires out of the way. There we go. And then to get this connector out, you kind of grab this and you kind of just wiggle it as you pull. And there you go, it comes out pretty easily. All right, so the battery model number, if you need it, you should actually check your battery itself, but this one is L18C3PF6. All right, so you can actually check your battery for that. Some people will say they don't want to open it to check. This one is very easy to open. If you can't open up the bottom cover just to check the battery, you might not want to order a battery. So, all right, there we go. Let's set that aside. Okay, so usually after removing the battery, what I like to do, if you want, you can actually also remove the BIOS or CMOS battery, which is connected right here. Let me actually zoom in so you can see that better. Okay, so I like to grab the wings of the connector here, and then you kind of just wiggle it as you pull it. Basically same as how we removed the big battery, except we're grabbing the connector since it's the cables can be a little bit weak. All right, now that we got both batteries disconnected, what we're gonna do, let's zoom out, carefully slowly open this up. Okay, the hinges on here seem to be a weak point, so I'm gonna be a little bit careful. I'm gonna actually hold my thumbs here and squeeze with my fingers in between the screen, and I'm gonna use my desk to kind of help turn the hinge, the screen itself open. All right, and then what we're gonna do now that we have the thing open, we're gonna press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds, and it seems like little plastic bits are falling out. But yeah, hold the power button for about 15 seconds. This will drain any residual power and make it a lot safer to work on. All right, usually with liquid damage, it probably already shorted the entire thing, so this might not do anything, but it's always good to hold it for 15 seconds just to be extra safe, all right? Okay, so I think that's been about 15 seconds. I don't know what plastic piece just fell out. I'm gonna hold with my thumb here and then pinch with my fingers to close it. Same thing on the other side. This will make sure the hinge has more strength to close it. But this computer, for some reason, the hinges are very difficult to open and close, so I don't know. I have a bad feeling that it's gonna break the hinge on this model easily. All right, so we got the SSD here, which looks like it got some wine spill on it, so that's not a good sign. But let's go ahead and lift it out. I am going to test the SSD externally on another computer, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this sticker, it's a warranty sticker. It looks like we can't get it out without tearing it, so we're just gonna poke a hole through and remove that, again using the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. SSD pops up at an angle like this, then you can pull it out. All right, so there is some liquid here. I'm a little bit worried because the customer said that the data is important, and it's not looking good with the way it has liquid residue on that label on the front and the back. It doesn't look like there's a 3.5-inch SATA hard drive in here, but you can add one if you want. Let me actually zoom out so you can see. Oh, and this is the motherboard model number. If you need that, you want to check yours. Again, your specs might be different, might be a different processor, different amounts of RAM and things like that, different video card. So you do want to check, make sure you get the right model number for your computer. All right, we're gonna pop this little metal cover up. I use my fingernail underneath a corner like this. You can use plastic pry tools if you want. I'm gonna pull that out. Let's go ahead and pull these two tabs to the side here, and the stick of RAM will pop up. Then you can pull it back just like the SSD. This is a PC4-2666V, 4 gigs. So only 4 gigs of RAM. I'm going to say this laptop isn't worth saving just from the specs of the RAM alone. I'm going to guess that the processor isn't too great either. But anyways, we're going to pop that back down so it goes in at an angle and pop down. If you did want to put a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, well, let me put this cover back on first. Make sure you get it all lined up, and then just push that into place. All right, so the 2.5-inch SATA hard drive would go in here. You can actually lift this speaker out. There's 2 screws under here, and then there's 2 screws here. Then you can go ahead and pull this metal thing out. The SSD or hard drive, 2.5-inch SATA, whatever hard drive or SSD, whatever you want to put in there, will go back in. There's 4 screws holding that are in the side of this bracket. Actually, let me pull this out because I'm wondering what those screws are holding into. They probably put a little metal placeholder in there, or plastic, we'll see. All right, so we'll get these 4 screws out. I'm gonna have to let my customer know, but grab that. Yeah, they put a metal thing in here. So basically you'll put the SSD in here. There's the smaller end of the connector here and the wider connector over here. So make sure you put the SSD or hard drive in the way so when you slide this in, it will go in the right direction. All right, we're gonna set this aside. And I don't know, there's so much broken plastic here, so I don't know how it broke so much. Maybe it was dropped or impacted kind of hard at some point, but get the speakers back in. You can actually see both speaker wires are running over here and they connect right there. Same thing, you grab, wiggle that. Got the touchpad or trackpad connector here, keyboard connector here. These all have these little flip latches. This one flips this way, keyboard flips this way. You got the keyboard backlight, flips that way. And you can pull those connectors out once you've done that. You got this long wide connector here for the IO board here. That's for the 2 USB ports, the SD card slot, the 1 key recovery button. This lets you access the BIOS or boot options. Also the indicator light or whatever. And you got the CMOS BIOS battery connected there as well. All right, CPU is soldered to the motherboard. You got the LCD LVDS connector here. If you are going to mess with this, make sure that you disconnected the battery, open the computer, and press and hold the power button for 15 seconds. Otherwise, you're risking very bad damage. All right. So then you got the wireless card here. Comes out like the RAM. If you want to see how to remove all of this, you can watch my other videos. But basically, you pull up from the tail of the connector as close as you can, and it should pop straight up. You don't want to try and pry from the front of those connectors. You've got the DC jack or charge port connector right there. And yeah, okay, I think that's pretty much all there is in here. Oh, the fan connector, of course. There's 2 screws holding the fan there. It looks like it might actually, maybe not, be underneath the heatsink. I'm not going to lift it unless I need to. I'm going to ask the customer what they want to do first. But yeah, that's pretty much all I see in here that's worthy of mentioning. Here I can see the hinge doesn't even close completely. You can see this piece bounces. So I'm kind of scared with that hinge design. I think this model is one of the ones where the hinges actually break because of a bad design. So anyways, I'll test the SSD, and then if the customer decides not to get it fixed, I'm just going to reassemble this, and that'll be the end of this video. Otherwise, we'll be pulling out the motherboard and see where we go from there. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. All right, so I'm back. Let's go ahead and reassemble this thing. So I kind of think it's not going to be worth repairing. I can try, but again, for this design, I've seen a lot where they have a bad hinge issue. The hinge design isn't too good. So I told the customer it's probably not going to be worth repairing. But let me see. Maybe I should try it anyways because, yeah. Alright, anyways, the SSD was a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, if I didn't mention that already. Let's go ahead and just, since it's liquid damage, we might as well just take it all apart and see what we got. Alright, so I got the 2 screws here holding the fans. Let's see if the fan will come out. Alright, it looks like the fan will come out. There is some adhesive holding this part of the connector down. Let's go ahead and disconnect the fan connector here. I'll zoom in here just so you guys can see a bit better. Wiggle the connector just like all the other ones. Alright, and then can we wiggle this just like that? It looks like it's coming out. Again, we did press and hold the power button, so let's go ahead and actually disconnect the LCD LVDS connector. Gonna get underneath, and we're just gonna pop this up just like that. Right, and let's go ahead and get this cable out, threaded out from under here. There's some adhesive holding this down here, so just be careful with that. All right, we're gonna grab this and slowly peel it away. Okay, just like that, and we'll do this. All right, so wow, there's a lot of like dirt and dust in here, so let's go ahead and clean that out. That's not good either. Okay, so I'm going to use a toothbrush and just kind of get this out. Okay, there we go. There's a lot of dust in here. I'm going to take it out later and clean that up better, but for now we're just getting minor little bits of dust out. Okay, I'll brush this up a little, and then I'll use my air blower to clean it out better. Actually, let me go take it out right now and clean that up. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Right, back. So you can see, cleaned up the fan here. All right, cleaned up this. There are some little hairs there, probably cat hairs, but I'll get that aside. All right, and is that stuff gonna come out? Not really. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave this side intact because it seems like there's no liquid on that side. So we're gonna leave this alone. Let's go ahead and disconnect this cable here. So I flip that latch up. We're gonna go ahead and get this cable out. Just kind of lift it and flex it a little bit like this, curve it, and it pops out. All right, so let's go ahead now and disconnect all these little cables and stuff here. All right, we're gonna set that aside. Okay, we're gonna actually, let's go ahead and take out the RAM and just leave it out. So we're gonna pop this thing back out. Okay, Set that aside, pull these two tabs, pops up like that. We'll set the RAM aside because it looks okay. All right, let's go ahead now and disconnect all these little cables. So I'll zoom in here a bit for you guys. I'm wondering if it actually has 8 gigs of RAM because the SSD is 512 gig. I wouldn't think they'd only put 4 gigs of RAM with a 512 gig SSD. But anyways, let's go ahead and pop this speaker connector out. So we're just wiggling the connector. There you go. We'll flip up the latch for the trackpad and pull that connector out. If you can, grab the blue tab and then pull that out. You don't want to like damage this cable. All right, flip this latch up. We'll peel up this Kapton tape. This is like a thermal tape. Okay, you want to be careful not to damage all these cables, and we'll set that tape aside. Then we'll flip these latches up and pull these cables out as well. Keyboard backlight again, keyboard connector here. All right, this one's a little bit tricky. You don't want to damage these cables by creasing them, so try and keep it as flat as possible if you can. It looks like they use some adhesive to hold it together, so this is going to be somewhat of a pain, but there we go, we got it. All right, so we got all of that out. I guess you're going to get to see the removal of the wireless card here now. So we're going to peel this up, and again we're going to just go from the tails and then pop the connector up. So this black wire is going to the black arrow and the white wire is going to the white arrow. Again, we're just going from the tail and then popping it up. It helps to kind of use 2 fingers, or you can use some tweezers and then just pop it straight up just like that. Right, so there we go, we got that, those wires out. We'll move that out of the way. DC jack connector, same thing. We're just going to grab this and kind of just wiggle this, and it should eventually pop up just like this. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and get all the screws that are holding the motherboard in place out. They have little arrows actually pointing to each screw, so you can kind of know where each screw came from. There's another one. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. Got another one right here. We'll remove that as well. Got another one right here. Remove that one. Okay. So there's an arrow there, and did we get them all? Is there something hidden here? It feels a little bit stuck here for some reason. I don't see another screw holding it down, so is there a clip? Okay, I think there's, oops, sorry, I'm like not zoomed out enough. Okay, so I think there's a clip actually holding it here, so you kind of have to pull this clip back a little. Either that, or we have to lift it from this side and then slide it over that direction. So let's see here. What is holding this down? Okay, this seems to be stuck a bit here. Do I have to actually remove this hinge? Possibly. So let's go ahead and remove the 2 hinge screws here. Wow, these hinge screws are pretty tight. I'm going to remove that screw, and we'll remove this screw. I see. They put a lot of red thread locker here. You actually don't see it on the screw because it stayed inside here. You can actually see all of that. All right, we're going to slowly, carefully lift this thing up. I'm getting my fingers in between here and using my thumbs to help keep the pressure on the hinge downwards. Once I get it lifted just a little, all right, just a little like this, I'm going to push down on the left side hinge so that way we can have this hinge stay propped up a little bit. And we're going to just lift this hinge up out of the way. I'm going to use a T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver to do that. That way I can use it, get it in the screw mount holes over here. All right, the one closest to the hinge should make it easiest, and I'm going to help push it back just like this. There we go, and now we got this out of the way. Okay, so let's see now what is holding this board into place. Okay, it's just sticky here, I guess. So maybe there was some adhesive from the, or maybe the wine kind of dried up and hardened. All right, so anyways, we're gonna just kind of wiggle this and move it. It looks like we're gonna have to lift this side up and then slide this side over that way because the ports, I think, are sticking out into there. So once you kind of wiggle this and get it past the clip down here, we should be able to lift this up. I'm gonna try and get all these cables out of the way because they're probably holding it. Something feels like it's stuck over here as well. I don't know why. maybe the wine, oh, I think the wine made it stuck down on top. So we're gonna lift it up like this, and then grab this and pull it out slightly to the left. And here we go. So we got this out. Here you can see the wine stain here and all over here. Again, I'm going to try and clean this out, and we'll see, because it wasn't too difficult to get this board out. Let's actually also remove the wireless card here. I'm going to peel this up. There's one screw holding that in place, so we'll remove that screw. Okay. And the wireless card comes out just like the SSD, pops up at an angle like that. Then you can go ahead, grab it, wiggle it, and pull it out. And the wireless card looks okay. I don't see any wine on it. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this thing under warm water, scrub it with a toothbrush to get all the wine residue off. We're going to do that on both sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol and my electric air blower to completely dry it. This, because it has this film on it, I don't know, it might be a little bit more risky to try and clean this board that way. But let's see if we can peel this off first. If we can, then we might be okay. I'm going to set this aside for now. Okay, and let's go ahead and peel this thing up if we can. You want to try and keep the board flat. You don't want to flex it because you don't want to risk damaging the motherboard. Alright, so try and keep the board flat. I'm putting pressure here as I peel it up so that there's less chance it's going to put pressure on the board. You don't want it to flex the motherboard. Okay, and we're slowly working our way over. The reason why I stopped going here is because there's this sharp corner there. You don't want to keep peeling and then it will just tear. So we're going to go along and follow this, and you want to be very careful because every time there's a little sharp point or cut, then it's a lot easier to tear if you just rip it out. Okay, so we're going to slowly continue peeling this up, and then we can see what's underneath the cover here. Okay, I think we got more RAM here, so I think I was right. There's most likely 8 gigs of RAM, so let's go ahead and continue peeling. Alright, so we got that, and we're going to peel this. Okay, so continue peeling that out. Again, try to prevent the board from getting bent here. Because there's all these little cuts in it, I'm going to continue going this way. The adhesive is getting kind of stuck to the motherboard on this side, but can't really do much about that. So there we go. We got this cover off. And actually some wine did get under here, so I'm probably going to clean that up off camera as well. But basically we'll use warm water, scrub it up, and then as I mentioned, we're just going to dry it off, use some rubbing alcohol to completely dry it, and use an air blower. It looks like they have a thermal pad here. Let's see what's underneath that. So we're going to peel this up. They have a little rectangle showing you where this actually goes, and we'll set that aside as well. Okay, so there we go. All right, I don't know if I'm going to remember which way this goes, but there's a QR code. I don't think it matters upside down, right side up, but I like to try and put stuff back the same way I got it. So we'll set that down. All right, and wow, that looks kind of bad. So this looks like it might have been toasted here. I don't know if you can see that black stuff all on it. Yeah, I think the motherboard might be fried, but I mean, we got this out. It wasn't too difficult. There weren't too many screws or anything, so we'll give it a shot. I'm gonna, again, run it under some warm water, scrub it with a toothbrush, and then dry it, then spray it with some rubbing alcohol, scrub it again, and then dry it one more time. So we'll do that, and we'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. We cleaned it out, and then I actually ran it in my dehydrator for 3 hours or so to make sure everything was dried up completely. Alright, we're going to now put back on this foil piece. So let's see, I got to make sure to line it up right. So we'll put it this way. We'll line up the hole here. Okay, and then we'll line up the hole here and this piece there. Okay, get that all lined up, and then we'll just stick it all around the edges. Alright, make sure everything is stuck back down. This does have a kind of like a, what do you call, insulating layer, so that black plastic is to prevent it from shorting out. That's what it's for, and the foil is supposed to help spread the heat out evenly. Okay, so we're just peeling this or putting this back on. This part was a little bit folded, so let me make sure to unfold that. Hopefully it will unfold. Okay, there we go, and stick that all back down. Alright, so we got everything stuck back down. Let's go ahead now and reassemble this thing. My customer just messaged and asked how it's going. So let's go ahead and get this back together. So this piece is kind of floppy, as you can see. Hopefully it will go back okay. Alright, so I don't think it really makes sense to try and clean anything under here because it's just plastic here. So it's not really going to affect anything. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay. And we're going to get this side first. We're going to focus on these connectors here, line them up. Okay, so we need to slide it back and to the side, and then make sure all these connectors end up back on top so that when we put this down, it's not going to be trapped under the motherboard. Okay, and we'll slowly lower it into place. So there we go. We got that all in. I'm going to test this without the SSD first, just to see if everything is working okay. Let's go ahead and get all these connectors in. So I'll zoom in a bit so you guys can see. Okay, so we're gonna get this in, make sure this latches up. Push it back slightly, all right, get that into place, and then flip that latch down. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the stick of RAM in. So this goes in at an angle like this, right? Then you go ahead and click it down. Don't forget this metal plate back on top, or a cover. Okay, line it all up. Okay, push that into place. Got all these other connectors here. Okay, oh, the trackpad went underneath. Get that back out. There we go. All right, oops, sorry, I'm not getting in view. Okay, so we're gonna get the keyboard backlight connector in first, just like this. Line it up. Push that in. Okay, might have to wiggle it a bit. It's a little bit difficult to get in. There we go. I think for some reason it seems like it's not in all the way, but I think that's all it goes. Okay, then hold that and flip that latch down. Then you can try and tug on it a bit, see if it stays. Looks good. Keyboard connector, make sure that latches up. All right, same thing, get that all into place. You want to make sure it lines up properly. Okay, get that in. We might have to use some tape. Oh, it actually slid in nicely, okay, by pushing on the back here. If it doesn't go in, you can actually use a piece of tape to help grab it and pull it over. All right, trackpad connector here. Get that in as well. All right, grab the blue tab, line it up, get that in place, flip that latch down. There we go. We'll probably put this after because we have to get the battery under, and this will all thread in over there. Okay, let's go ahead and move over here, and we'll get the fan back in place. Let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, so fan first. All right, get that lined up. Hopefully you were able to get all the screws in order. All right, we're gonna get this wire and route it back through these little, I don't know what you would call these, the wire mount. Okay, or guides. Okay, let's stick that tape back down. Guide this wire back over here. Line this up. Make sure it's lined up, and then push that back in. Okay, everything's good. Snapped into place. Okay, I'm gonna get this cable back in. I probably should have marked it, but it looks like if you're doing this, oh, they do mark it already. There's a white dot on top. You want these metal pins facing upwards, all right? And then get that lined up. Once you get it lined up, you can pinch both sides and, all right, push that into place. Okay, so let's see. We had the two fan screws here, one here. Am I getting the right screws? So these are the hinge screws, sorry. Okay, let me make sure I get the right screws in. We got this one here. Okay. So I think the fan screws and the motherboard screws are actually the same, but I actually lined them up to make sure I put the same screws back where I got them. And that's very useful for working on computers, because if you do it this way, there's a lot less chance that you're gonna forget any screws. Okay, so we got that. Then we're gonna go ahead and get the motherboard screws. There's only 3. Oh, shoot, I missed one piece. So I forgot to put that little foil thing back underneath. So now we got to take everything back out again. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot that little thermal pad underneath, so I want to make sure to put that back. I don't like leaving things out, so let's go ahead and pop this back off. Okay, let's get all of these connectors back. Since I already showed how to do them, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and pull everything out. I'm not really going to go over what it is I'm pulling out and what. All right. If you want to see that, you can go back and watch that. All right, so let's go ahead and get this almost good. All right. Get all these connectors back out. Okay, I'm just quickly going to pull these all out now. Keyboard one is a little tricky, but maybe I can do that last and it might help if I just lift the motherboard up. Yeah, I think it's easier this way. Okay, oops, I probably should zoom out so you guys can see better what I'm doing. Okay, all right. So I forgot to put underneath this foil stuff. There's a thermal pad thing that I forgot about. So let me peel this back up. Shoot, it's on the other side. Okay, it's all the way over here. So I forgot to put back this pad here. So we're gonna put that back. It goes this way. And there's actually a dent on it so I can see where it lines up here. Okay. And then they actually put a little white box there so I can kind of see. All right, there we go. So we're just gonna stick that back and stick that. Okay, I'm not sure if you don't put that, if there's gonna be any issues. I don't know what that's actually trying to cool, but we'll just stick that back on because that's what they had there. So hopefully they had it there for a reason. All right. Other than just being something to forget to put back. But there we go. Stick everything back down. All right. Make sure all the foil is nice and stuck down. All right. Good. All right. Let's flip this back over and get everything back lined up. Okay. Good, good, and good. And get all these wires back out. Okay, put that back on top. All right, let's get all of these cables back in. Since I already did these before showing it, I'm just gonna kind of more quickly do it, not really showing close up. Because hopefully you guys already got it the first time. If not, you can rewatch the video. Okay, should get this in. So yeah, this one's a little weird. It feels like it should go in further, but that's how it is. All right. Keyboard connector. This looks a little bit dirty. Let me try and clean it a little. Okay. There we go. Get that in. Alright, come in. Go. Alright, put the fan back again. Alright, line this all up. Back around. Get this lined up. Snap that back in. Hopefully I didn't forget anything else, and hopefully that's good. Alright, get back the fan screws in there. Holding the fan into place. Alright, don't forget this connector. Line it up, pinch it in. Oh, I dropped all my screwdriver set. Okay, I'm gonna have to clean that up in a bit, but we'll do that later. Alright, get all these back in. Alright, get this corner one back in. And there's one more screw for the motherboard. Where'd it go? It was somewhere down here, if I remember correctly. Where's the little arrow? Am I missing something? Wait, why is this not sitting completely flush down? Feels weird that it's like raised. Oh, I forgot that clip here. So make sure that clip goes in. So I'm gonna have to probably lift the motherboard screws up a little bit so I can move that. Okay, I found the screw I was talking about. Alright, so I guess let's lift these screws out a little bit. Okay, so there's a little clip down here that I forgot. It has to go into there, so we're going to lift the motherboard slightly and get that under there. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead now and get all of this back in. It's going to be a pain to clean up all those screwdriver bits. I'm going to have to reorganize everything. It fell everywhere. Alright, let's go ahead and get the motherboard screws. This one here. And then the last one down here. Okay, give me a bit. I'm going to get all my stuff back together and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go ahead and finish putting everything back together. We had this piece for the hard drive. That's not really there. We do have to lift this back up. Alright, oops, sorry. Lift the speaker back up and out of the way. Get this back in. Okay, normally if you had a hard drive, you would slide it in like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those back in. Make sure I get all those screws back. This one, this one down here. Just loosely fitting them first to make sure everything lines up, and we can go ahead and tighten it. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna test it without the SSD first just to see if it turns on, because if it doesn't turn on, then there's really no point of putting the SSD back in here. So for now, I'm just gonna put the screw for the SSD into place. Alright, just there. Okay, let me zoom in a bit and let's get the wireless card into place. Okay, wireless card's here, goes in at an angle. Alright, and then we're going to get that screw in. Okay, just like that. Alright, let's get the dust out of here. Alright, get these cables lined up. Alright, so we got the black wire going to the black one, and then the one with the white line going to the white one. You want to make sure it's completely lined up. The way you knew that is if you move it around, it doesn't come off from the connector. Alright, get the second one in, and there we go. Click that all into place. Make sure that's all lined up. Then we can go ahead and push the hinge back down. Okay, just like that. Get it lined up. We're going to now get the hinge screws back in. They already have a bunch of red thread locker in there, so we probably don't need to add more. It feels pretty solid. Tighten the screw into place. Alright, get the second one in there. Tighten that. Alright, make sure it's nice and tight. Get this DC jack charge port connector back in place and make sure it goes in straight. Plug that in. If you're putting a new one, make sure the gold pins are facing up. Alright, pinch that into place. Okay, all that we got left, I think, is the battery and then all the screws from the bottom, if I remember correctly. So let's go ahead and zoom out here. Alright, battery here. Okay, so we got this battery. We want to make all these wires go back guided through here again. Okay. Alright. Red one, and I guess the blue one too. Right, get that lined up. Same thing, the little metal pins are showing through this connector if you put a new speaker set and you're confused. Right, pinch that back in, and you want to make sure it goes in right, because if you put it in crooked, you're gonna have problems. Okay, what did I do with the little, oh, okay, the yellow piece of tape here. Almost forgot that one. We're gonna stick that back on top of here, if I remember correctly. Is there a screw hole that I have to avoid? No. Okay, let's go ahead and stick that back down here. I think that's where it went, if I remember correctly. All right, and then now we can get the battery connector lined up. Get it all lined up. Make sure this LCD connector goes up behind the battery. So I'm going to use some tweezers to lift it back up. Okay, here we go. I guess it goes underneath that part, so we'll just tuck that in like that behind there. Okay, so the battery only had 3 screws, but this one was broken. If you want, you can put that broken plastic piece back in, but it's broken, so it's not going to do anything. All right, let's get that screw in. Oops. Yeah, that's not going to do anything at all. Okay, but we'll just tighten it in there. Okay, then we have one more screw over here. And one more screw over here. And I think that is everything. Okay, am I missing anything else? I think that should be it. Okay. Oh, don't forget the BIOS or CMOS battery connector here as well. Again, the metal pins are facing up. Get it lined up, and then you want to pinch it back into place. All right. All right, pinch that back in. There we go. All right, and they had this taped over on top. So if you want, you can try and stick that back down. All right, I think we got everything reconnected other than the battery. So once we make sure, we can go ahead and plug the actual battery in. All right, looks good. Now we'll get this lined up. And for this one, you want the metal pins actually facing down, okay? They actually put a mark on top here so you can see they have like little protruding plastic pieces here that slotted in. Okay, make sure to line it up straight. Pinch the thing back in, and there we go. Let's see if it's gonna power up or not. I'm gonna slowly, carefully open this up, and let's see what we got. Power button. The power button is lighting up, so we'll see if we got anything. It might take a while to start up because we disconnected the CMOS or BIOS battery. So let's go ahead and leave it for a bit and see if anything comes on the screen. If the screen comes on, we will be, oh, okay, I think we're lucky. So default boot device missing. So I'm going to get the SSD, put that back in, and we'll see what we got. So I'm going to carefully pinch this back closed because we don't have the 2 screws here and here. Okay, so yep. All right, let's go ahead and get the SSD and see if we're lucky. The other thing is the keyboard. If the keyboard doesn't work, that's a very difficult keyboard to replace. They actually melt plastic to hold it into place. I have a video showing similar models on how to replace the keyboard on those. But most people are going to avoid that. If you want to replace the keyboard, I recommend replacing the entire palm rest, the keyboard palm rest assembly. Okay, let me go get the SSD. We'll put it back in and we'll see if we're lucky. All right, so I'm back. I'm going to remove it from this hard drive USB thing that I have. Okay, I tested the hard drive separately and it seemed to work okay. Hopefully the boot sector isn't messed up or the EFI boot isn't messed up. Okay, now we got that plugged in. This is a M.2 PCIe NVMe. If I didn't mention, I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case, put that back down, get that screw into place. All right, and let's go ahead and open it up one more time and power it up and see what we got. So we're going to open this carefully. All right, it's showing 80% battery right now from when we opened it. That's a good thing. So it knows that the battery open and close is working, and it looks like we are good to go. So I'm going to hold this out of view now because usually customers don't like their username showing up. So we're just going to have the bottom of this showing, and it's Windows 11, and it looks like it's good. So we should be good to go. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others. I will test the keyboard for my customer just to make sure all the keys are working. But other than that, let's close this up, put back the bottom cover screws, and we're good to go. All right, let's close this up, pinch that back down. Okay, bottom cover, let's actually get a screenshot of, or this can be a thumbnail, so I'm going to put this centered here. Okay, and that's my thumbnail. All right, and let's go ahead now and put the bottom cover. It's a little bit dusty. I didn't clean this with the rest of it, so let me clean that real quick and I'll be back. All right, so we're back, cleaned it up a bit. All right, you can see there's actually a lot of wine residue and dust, so we cleaned that off. And now we're just gonna put this back. Hopefully these screws will go in. As you can see, one of the screw mounts here is missing, so that's probably what fell out when I lifted it up. So that screw's not gonna go back. That's why some of the screws were kind of stuck. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and snap all of this back together. Hopefully the rest will be okay. But yeah, very easy to snap back together. Okay, and let's go ahead and get all these screws back in. So switch back to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. All right, and let's get all these screws back in. So that's pretty much all there is to this. Hopefully, again, that this video helped you guys out. If it did, again, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can find out how to repair and upgrade their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't contribute anything, that's fine. But please make sure to like and subscribe. That will actually help as well. All right, and other than that, thanks for watching. You're welcome to stay as I put back all these screws, and we're pretty much good to go. I don't know if I miss. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I have a bunch of screws from other computers I was working on, so I want to make sure I'm not mixing anything up. Get back in there. Okay, there we go. All right, 3 more screws because, again, this one, the screw mount is broken, the one in the bottom right corner, so I can't put that back. Okay. Other than that, we're good to go. And I don't know why, but this one down here was using a really small screw, so keep that in mind. It's shorter than all the rest, so if you somehow mixed up your screws, hopefully you didn't put a screw that's too long here and then damage your computer. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and flip this over, power it up, and see what we got. Though we already turned it on, so I think we're good to go. All right, power it up. And yep, we're good to go. Spin, spin. It turns on so quick. Actually, why is the screen all dark right now? Oh no. So maybe it does have some other issue. Other than that, looks like we're good. Turning the screen darker kind of works. Okay, I'm gonna restart the computer one time. I guess it maybe had some liquid damage that caused something with the screen. It was working fine before, and then once I opened it again, it went bad. So probably some capacitors or something are messed up. I'll also double check the screen connector. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.